Opera Saratoga is the only professional opera company in the region. This summer we're doing 4 different productions, but throughout the year we do a wide variety of community and educational programs, really to provide access to opera and classical vocal music for the entire community in the entire region. The Spa Little Theatre is Opera Saratoga's home theatre. This is a historic theatre that's just under 500 seats. It's really an extraordinary place for opera, I think, because most opera companies in this country perform in much larger theatres. People joke about opera being done in these barns, these giant theatres. And opera historically, in Europe, where it had its roots, was performed in smaller theatres. And we're really fortunate in that we have this really intimate space. You're so up close and personal with the singers. It's a really visceral experience. There's an incredibly large number of people. There's almost 100 people who come together to put the festival together. That starts with the nitty-gritty of rehearsals, starting with music rehearsals, dramatic coachings, language coachings. This summer we have operas in English, in French, in German, in Russian. The staging rehearsals, choreography rehearsals. We started this morning at 9 o'clock with a rehearsal of The Daughter of the Regiment. It's a comedy by Donizetti, which the company has not done in over 2 decades. That's a production I'm actually directing and choreographing. Best laid plans sometimes go a little off course. Our lead, Keely Fujura, an extraordinary soprano, has been fighting a little something, and she started the run this morning, and I could tell during the work through that she was feeling a little under par. I couldn't hear it audibly, but I could tell she was fighting through it. And so I stopped the rehearsal for a second, pulled her aside, and I said, "Do you want to stop? I mean, we're all human, right?" One of the things that we actually have here at Opera Saratoga is a young artist program, an emerging artist program. And through that program, we have covers or understudies for every single role in the season. And so we have Rachel Michael, another wonderful young singer who was available and ready and who stepped in. And she has been doing what we call shadowing during the staging rehearsals. She's had very few actual rehearsals herself. So some of the parts that she sang this morning, that was her first time actually getting it up on its feet with the rest of the cast. And it just speaks to the professionalism and the talent of these singers that they can just be ready for that. Opera's far from dead. I certainly have heard that before. I've heard the idea that opera is an antique or foreign art form or not relevant. The fact is there are dozens of new operas that are being written every year and performed every year. In fact, we're doing a really wonderful and exciting world premiere this summer. Off-site right now, there are music rehearsals for Ellen West, which is the world premiere. It's a really extraordinary piece. Ricky Ian Gordon is the composer, one of the most acclaimed living composers we have in America today. It is inspired and based on a poem by the Pulitzer Prize-winning poet Frank Bidart. This poem is called Ellen West. The poem itself is based on a real case study of a young woman in the early 20th century who was hospitalized because she was suffering from multiple eating disorders as well as other issues, other mental health issues.
I think the opera is so moving and a really spectacular experience for both the performers and also for the audience. It's a deep dive into the sort of the human condition.
I allowed this piece to be what it was. It moved me deeply enough to haunt me for 20 years before I set it to music. The subject matter haunted Frank for 20 years. Ellen West and her story haunted Dr. Binswanger, so much so that it is what we know him for, the case study of Ellen West.
For me, opera is a lens through which we look at the world. And whether that is through pieces that were written 100 or 200 years ago, or a piece like Ellen West, which was written today, there is a great deal of relevance with what we see on stage at the opera, and it's a way for us to look at people, look at situations through a different lens with the heightened intensity of music.